Appamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Thank you for your support. There is a Dharma box for contributions in the kitchen and also a link for contributions on the website.
Page 44.
Past, penetrating, and perfect Dharma is rarely met with even in 100,000 million kalpas. Having it to see and listen to remember and accept, I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's words. Let's see. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. And I have some notes here I'm going to be following along with. So those of you online, I'm going to be looking up. I'll be looking at you when I'm looking up this way. I won't see you on my screen. But... All right. Good to see you all. Thanks for being here. And I'm going to be weaving together a few different concepts, and we're going to see what happens. Basically.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Are we recording?
Oh, are we recording? Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you. And maybe I'll just start with why I wanted to give this talk. And I think it has to do, well, I don't think, it has to do with an experience I had with my mom as she was passing. And my dad is here, and Jess was there, my dad was there, I was there, my mom was there. And it was such a beautiful gift to be there when she passed. I mean, it was horrible and wonderful at the same time, and such an honor to be there. And watching her life leave her body was one of the most profound things I've ever been a part of. Maybe comparable to seeing our daughter born. You know, it's like you see a life born into the world and a life go out of the world. It's just a miracle. And I remember in that moment when I saw her life leave, I felt this huge vacuum, just like she's gone. Like everything about her life is gone. You know, I saw like just a rush of images, like her checkbook, her shoes, her like all these things that make up a life, you know, just like that was it. And yet what it is like opened this koan in my heart, like what remains of her and this life of this amazing woman. And so this is kind of a product of this koan that just keeps evolving for me since having that experience. And so here we go: black holes, basic goodness, and the perfection of wisdom. And so I think about physics a lot. Jess and I talk about physics a lot, and it's just so interesting. And you know, when we think about a black hole, it sounds pretty dire. You know, when we think of like everything that goes into this black hole, it's almost like this ominous kind of force sometimes, even though it's a part of nature, right? Like, and our concept of it is like whatever falls into a black hole is just like destroyed. Everything gets, they even call it spaghettification. Everything gets spaghettified. It's drawn out into like single molecules, like big massive objects. And so that's kind of the concept I've had about black holes. And so, which is such a, I mean, yeah, it's just a wild concept. That's part of our reality. And in that view, you know, not even light escapes. You know, we all know this. But I've learned something recently that really changed my view on this, is that, and we're going to go into this in more detail, that what physics now shows us is that when something goes into a black hole, part of it is retained on what they call the event horizon. The event horizon is a theoretical part of the black hole where it's like you're on the edge of the black hole, you pass over the event horizon, you're in the black hole. There's no getting out. So it's like you're on the edge, right? So when things enter the black hole, there's a part of it that's retained and actually radiates back out into the cosmos. That is pretty different than the way I've thought about this. So that whole fascination and curiosity is what has informed this. And so what looks like annihilation from the outside is actually a transformation and a re-expression. And so in a way, the universe is preserving an imprint of everything and then offering it back out in a new form. And so I wonder, when we look into the broken, open places in our lives, when we feel like we're going through a black hole, our losses, our griefs, our failures, our heartbreaks, what returns to us, what gets offered back out? And then how does prajna, or the perfection of wisdom, help us meet this kind of uncertainty with clarity, tenderness, and courage? And so that's what I'd like to delve into with y'all today. So I want to lean left brain for a minute and talk about the physics view of this. There will be no equations, I promise. But when we talk about information in this space, like, what do we mean by information? So in physicists now, they treat information like almost as a fundamental quality of the universe. There's mass and matter and energy and information. Now they're starting to see it that way as well. And so when I use that word information, I'm not talking about facts and figures and data. In physics, information is, and this is their definition, anything that reduces uncertainty about the state of a system is what they call information. And so it's not what something is, but how it's arranged. I also think about this too, of like, how does an acorn know to become an oak tree? That's a huge koan, right? Like, how does this happen? What is driving that? How does it know? You know? So it's about the patterns that make this moment what it is. And so when you know the pattern, that's information. When you don't know the pattern, that's entropy, that's uncertainty. And so I started thinking about this from a Dharma lens. And so what is Dharma? You know, and in my view, I think of Dharma as the teachings of the Buddha, and it's also the way of things. Like, it's the Dharma of things. And to me, that sounds a lot like information, like the way of things. And the Dharma interestingly though, it doesn't solve uncertainty, but it helps us be with uncertainty, and in a way that helps us reduce the confusion about it. In what, you know, and it doesn't give us the answers. It doesn't give us certainty necessarily, but it shows us how to rest in, move with, and open to the uncertainty of life as it is. So the Dharma, in a way, is a kind of fundamental quality of our existence, in my view. And prajna, like prajna paramita in the Heart Sutra, is wisdom, great wisdom. And prajna helps us see the Dharma more clearly, helps us see things as they truly are and what's essential. And again, it doesn't erase our difficulty, but it helps us see the nature of the difficulty and the nature of the ground of the Dharma, the way of things. Now I want to bounce back to black holes. And as I was doing research on this, I don't know why, I don't really like the word black hole. It just feels a little nihilistic. And so I was looking for other, like, what's another word for black hole? And I found this word dark star. Have you heard of dark star? This was the old word that they had for black holes. And again, I'm just going to geek out for a second. But back in the late 1700s, there was this astronomer named John Mitchell who proposed this idea of dark star. And he postulated the idea of something so massive that nothing could escape its gravity, even light. And he did this with Newtonian physics. This was before relativity even happened, which is kind of amazing. I think about this with Dogen too, like the ways that, like, how does the mind know things that now physics is just now catching up to, you know? It's just really incredible. Yeah, maybe I just wanted to bring the word dark star into this. I thought it was cool. So the leading view about black holes is that everything is lost once it goes into the black hole. But now they're seeing, this is theoretical physics, right? Because we can't like go up and measure a black hole yet. That all of the information about what goes into the black hole is retained in this area they call the event horizon, and it slowly radiates back out into the cosmos through a process they call quantum radiation or Hawking radiation. And so you can think about this. If you think about it, the universe is a big library. And maybe the black holes are the librarians holding all this information. That's pretty amazing. And so it's like a big information source just radiating out this kind of beingness and Dharma, if you like, back out into the cosmos. And every book is describing the unfolding of reality. And in this way, nothing's ever truly lost. It's just reformed. So the information's there in a new way, and it goes back out and just keeps going, apparently. So, I don't know, that just really grips me, that everything is, you know, it's seemingly lost, but it's just transformed. So again, bringing this back into a Dharma lens, Dharma can be thought of as like the totality of the teachings, the path, the methods that we follow, the truth of reality, the way things unfold. Prajna, again, can be thought of as like the direct knowing of this truth of the Dharma. And in our tradition, in the Mahayana tradition, the Dharma points to emptiness or shunyata. And so emptiness is not nothingness. For a while, I really struggled with like emptiness. Like, oh, wow, that sounds bleak. But it's actually not nothingness. It's pointing to our interdependence, our interdependent co-arising of each other. I'm not a fixed self. I exist because you do, and you exist because I do, and we're all part of the same beingness. And I remember Flint saying, this was actually the primary realization that the Buddha had, was in this interdependence of this emptiness. A lot of what the Buddha taught was part of his tradition in India at the time, and his realizing this non-fixed selfness was his great realization. And I think I wanted to point that out because, again, black hole feels so empty and it feels so like there's nothing there, but it's actually emptiness is form. And form is emptiness, as we're taught. We have to read these things constantly because it's like, you know, remember, like this is how it is. Another thing I wanted to bring into this, again, I'm weaving these things together, hopefully, is the idea of basic goodness or Buddha nature, which we would call Tathagata Garbha, Tathagata being like the Buddha, the one who's gone and the one who has come, and the way that we can recognize that in all things, that Buddha nature in all things. There's also this concept of basic goodness. So just like the sun shines and the water flows and the rain comes, basic goodness is also the ground of our being. There is a basic goodness to the universe. It's not something we cultivate. It's something that we can become intimate with as we sit in our sitting practice. And it's the natural way of being when our clear seeing is unobstructed. I'm going to pivot now. I'm going to read a little bit from this book, The Sacred Path of the Warrior. This is by Chogyam Trungpa. This was my mom's book. And I just picked this up again the other day, and part of this really informed. I've been kind of talking cognitively, I feel like, or about ideas, which is wonderful. I love living in that space. And also I want to bring this back home to our personal lived experience. And so I want to read from this about the genuine heart of sadness, because again, this is, I think, relevant about breaking open. When you awaken your heart, you find, to your surprise, that your heart is empty. You find that you are looking into outer space. What are you? Who are you? Where is your heart? If you really look, you won't find anything tangible and solid. Of course, you might find something very solid if you have a grudge against someone or you've fallen possessively in love, but that is not an awakened heart. If you search for awakened heart, if you put your hand through your rib cage and feel for it, there's nothing there except for tenderness. You feel sore and soft, and if you open your eyes to the rest of the world, you feel tremendous sadness. This kind of sadness doesn't come from being mistreated. You don't feel sad because someone has insulted you or because you feel impoverished. Rather, this experience of sadness is unconditioned. This experience of sadness is unconditioned. It occurs because your heart is completely exposed. There is no skin or tissue covering it. Even if a tiny mosquito lands on it, you feel so touched. Your experience is raw and tender and so personal. The genuine heart of sadness comes from feeling that your non-existent heart is full. You would like to spill your heart's blood and give your heart to others. And I know I feel that way when my heart is broken. I feel so open. I just feel so in touch with what's around me. And so this is where I'd like to draw parallels, that when we meet our broken hearts with prajna, with wisdom, we begin to notice that nothing actually has been destroyed, even though it might feel that way in the moment. And the heart, maybe, we could think of it like a black hole. What flows through isn't lost, it's transformed. And so our grief becomes tenderness, and our fear becomes intimacy with experience. And our loss becomes connection with all beings who are suffering and experiencing loss. It actually makes us more intimate with suffering. And so from that place, just like information radiates back out into the cosmos, how do we pour ourselves back out when our heart is broken open? When we no longer need to defend or perform or protect a fixed idea of ourselves, and we realize our true nature of an open, porous heart marked by emptiness like everything else. And then we have an opportunity to offer ourselves back out and naturally, freely have that experience in a less hindered way. And in that way, our suffering becomes a kind of a gateway to offering ourselves. Jessica and I were talking about this yesterday. I was like, man, I wish there was some fundamental teaching that could pull this all together. And she was like, it's the Heart Sutra. And I was like, oh yeah, I've read that. So I just wanted to kind of reflect on the Heart Sutra. That's something we read. I mean, it's so fundamental to our tradition. Really just names this in such a penetrating way. And I want to kind of go through the parts of the Heart Sutra that speak to this and offer a little bit of commentary. All dharmas are marked by emptiness. Given emptiness, there is no fixed form.
Page 5 or page 7, your choice.
Yeah. And I'm not reading it word for word, but it also tells us a bodhisattva, like us, relies on prajnaparamita. So understanding that we're open, we're broken open, what do what do we rely on? We rely on wisdom, and the wisdom that shows us the truth of things, the way of things. And thus the mind is without hindrance. Or you might say your heart is without hindrance, and it becomes awakened with bodhi, bodhicitta, awareness. And then we're in the true nature of our heart. And to rely on prajna is to trust in the emptiness of things and to trust in the basic goodness that is never lost, our Buddha nature, our Tathagata Garbha. Nothing essential is ever lost. And the nature of the heart is wide and unobstructed, and our deepest pain can become the source of our deepest offering. So, going back to how I started us, when something painful enters the gravity of our lives, like our grief, our heartbreak, our failures, our shortcomings, what returns? What remains? What do we offer back? What radiates back out into the world? And I would posit with this that relying on prajna, we see that nothing is completely lost. It's only transformed, rearranged, and shared back out. And that's the basic goodness of emptiness or shunyata or interdependence. And the open heart of the Dharma is our true bodhi nature. Thank you very much. I would love to hear your reflections on this. Any questions or comments? Anything else? Lori.
I was just going to say that I was thinking from your talk, it reminded me of when my dad passed, and that was a difficult time. And at some point I was really lost in my own grief. And then I joined a group of people, I was a member of a women's group. Anyway, and during the course of that meeting, I was talking to other people about, what I was going through. And it just, the whole thing was transformed. I was transformed. The situation was transformed. Just knowing that there was other people that knew what that was, So it just, it's like the story of the woman who went, what was she doing? That went to the Buddha and said, "Oh, my child has died." And the Buddha,
He's a good Tommy.
"Okay, go find the mustard seed among all the common people, and things will be changed." Of course, she would go, and then they were all agreeing that had agreed something, and so she realized that everyone feels that way. But anyway, so that's what I was thinking about. That's where the transformation is that feeling that you're not going to have that same sort of connection and truth and love right in a moment like that. I mean, that's one way that happens. So that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you're speaking to the shared experience of loss opens you to others who have lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question. When I try to understand something, I try to put it in the context of something else I know
Yeah.
and make that connection. And the thing that I thought of when you were talking was, I don't know if this is called chaos theory, but Prigoghine's notion that perturbation is when things shake up really so much that they actually transform to something else.
Yes.
And that something else is may be different from what it came from.
Yeah.
But there are elements of what it was that are in it.
Yes.
And I was trying to see the connection between what I knew about that and what you were talking about. Can you link those two concepts together for me?
Totally.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, chaos, it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. Chaos theory shows that even in the midst of what we call chaos, there's order, actually. Like, you know what a fractal is? If you see like a visual of a fractal, it's a self-repeating system. And that's mathematics showing us the nature of the universe, that even in things that look so random, there's actually an order to things that's self-repeating. And what is that?
Reincarnation.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's an idea of it. And it's an expression of it. Yeah. And so that's what I was kind of drawing is like, that could also be thought of as the Dharma. It's the Dharma of the cosmos, which is marked by things like basic goodness and Buddha nature. It seems to be an emergent property of the cosmos.
Is that also like that in the Hebrew saying, may his memory be for a blessing? That or may her memory be for a blessing, that when somebody passes, the concept is that they are alive in one's memory.
Yeah.
That they're speaking of them and talking and having that's the connection that I'm hearing.
Yeah, totally.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this visually as a pebble thrown in a pond. The pebble's gone, but the ripples remain. And that's also the way of things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Becky?
Yes, I think that can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That my experience and putting it together with the ways of looking at it that I've learned and practiced has to do with that much what you're talking about is everything is there. Everything is there. It doesn't necessarily look the way we see it, we feel it, whatever. It's our brains that can't absorb the greatness of it all. And is what's so beautiful about our practice is we get glimpses of it. We don't get the whole picture at once, but we get glimpses. And yes, the death of someone beloved to us is one of the times when we come in at a very tender place of that is going to affect us in some way or another. The thing that has helped me through, I live in an assisted living. I make friends here, deep friends, and they die. And over the 5 years I've been here, that has been several people, and I've been able to be with them through some of that. And I found that this song from Plum Village is one of the things that I can sing, not just about someone's passing, because it has to do with the whole thing. And so I'm going to sing this song. No coming, no going, no, I'll sing it if I can remember the words while I'm trying to sing it. No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free. For you are in me, and I am in you. For you are in me, and I am in you.
Rosemary?
Hi, thank you so much, Jon-Eric. This was beautiful. And along with what you said, Lori, in my family in November, there just have been several losses, not in the same year, but it's a rough month for us. So twice we've held a Zoom session. We all live in different places. A celebration of life for these people we lost, and every time we've done it, it's been really, really healing. What I did this last time, this month, was to write a letter to each of these folks, but I went in with it also wanting to learn from my brothers something about their experience, and I just wanted to share that as something that was really, really healing, and having that sharing what we experience, and also with my father in particular, the border that you were talking about, Jon-Eric, was for me his generosity that just radiated out certainly through me, and I think through my brothers as well, and into the world. He was generous to many, many people. So I love that idea of the perimeter of the black hole, the way you described it, and the radiation out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosemary. I love the way you elegantly captured that, the generosity radiated out. I love that. It's beautiful.
A couple of things. One, the information entropy pair, I guess, is really interesting to me, especially in a Buddhist context, right? I mean, the information of the Dharma is information about entropy being the nature of reality, and that's really, it's a fun interplay to me. On a more personal note, I have a really challenging relationship with my father, who is alive, but with whom I don't have a relationship, and I like having that experience. I often don't like having that experience, but right now I like having that experience because it lets me see that the things we're talking about here today aren't exclusively just about when someone dies. You can lose a friendship or a family member in some other way, but the best of them can still radiate within us, and I like the idea that it's not just the one strict boundary. Things change and come and go for many reasons, but they're never really fully gone.
Yeah. Thank you for that reflection. Yeah. Often with difficult people, or when we have a difficulty with a person, if we can see their Buddha nature, it helps us see there's that essential part of them too. Sometimes we need to kind of work to get there, but if we can see that, it's helpful.
What did Suzuki Roshi say? Some people it takes you a whole lifetime to learn how to love.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, this is so relevant to loss of a person, but it's also, sharing this idea for this talk with Peg, and she said, yeah, it's like trauma. What do you mean? She was like, you go through something so traumatic that you feel like everything's being ripped away and everything, but something remains, you come back in a new way. Like, yeah, it is like that too. That something we lose, we're grieving, we lose, it feels gone, it feels like we're being torn apart, and yet something else reemerges can be offered back out.
So the concept of learning.
What's that?
I said it reminds me of, I was thinking about Wicked and the song For Good. I don't know, I because I knew you, I know I've been changed for good. Like, I don't know, we're men in this life. I don't know if this is true, but because I knew you, I've been changed for good. Mm-hmm. And that whole idea that you don't know what's maybe going on
Mhm.
at any one time,
Mhm.
but there's ways in which those, and I like that idea that you talked about, the event horizon, is that what you
Mhm.
called it? I like that little sparkly place. It's kind of like when I'm looking for something on my phone and it says you're 5 feet away or you're close to it.
Yeah.
You know, you can sort of say, oh, you know, it's that edge of,
Yeah.
that edge of knowing.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes. What is the Parker Parker
On the brink of everything.
On the Brink of Everything, his book. It's kind of like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Emma?
I think so. Thank you. Thank you all for your reflections. Really beautiful.